September 1st, 1939. The tranquil dawn over the borderlands of Poland was brutally shattered. The monstrous roar of engines, the thunderous clatter of tank tracks, and the chilling screams of dive bombers tore through the morning air. Germany had unleashed its blitzkrieg, a lightning war of unprecedented ferocity and speed, upon a nation clinging to the fragile hope of peace. Across a vast front, the might of the Wehrmacht poured into Polish territory, its overwhelming numerical and technological superiority designed to crush resistance swiftly and decisively. The world held its breath, witnessing the opening act of a conflict that would engulf the globe. In the midst of this overwhelming invasion, a small yet profoundly significant chapter of human defiance was about to be written. This is the untold story of the Battle of Wizna, an engagement that would forever be etched into the annals of military history as one of the most heroic stands in World War II. It became known as the Polish Thermopylae, a testament to the unyielding spirit of resistance when confronted by impossible odds. Here, a mere 720 Polish soldiers, under the unwavering leadership of Captain Władysław Raginis, stood firm against a colossal German force comprising 42,000 troops and 450 tanks. This incredible battle, unfolding over 3 harrowing days, was not just a clash of arms, it was a clash of wills, a poignant demonstration of courage, sacrifice, and tactical brilliance that resonated far beyond the strategic importance of the ground itself. It delayed the German advance, buying precious hours and days for other Polish units, and in doing so, inspired a nation facing imminent subjugation. The Battle of Wizna became more than just a battle. It became a powerful symbol of defiance and national pride, a moment where bravery undeniably outweighed numbers. To truly comprehend the enormity of this stand, we must first understand the context. Poland, a nation that had only recently regained its independence after over a century of foreign partitions, found itself caught between 2 totalitarian giants, Nazi Germany to the west and the Soviet Union to the east. Despite signing mutual assistance treaties with France and Great Britain, Poland's military, while spirited, was tragically outmatched by the modern, mechanized forces of the Wehrmacht. Their cavalry charges against tanks became a romanticized, albeit often exaggerated, symbol of their desperate courage. But at Wizna, the fight was different. It was a stand, a fixed defense designed to hold, to bleed, and to delay. The strategic importance of Wizna lay in its geographical location. Situated along the Nerev River, a natural defensive line, Wizna commanded the only viable crossing point for a large mechanized force in that sector. This crossing was crucial for the German 19th Panzer Corps, led by the infamous General Heinz Guderian, a pioneer of blitzkrieg tactics. Guderian's objective was clear: smash through the Polish defenses, cross the Nadev, and push rapidly eastward towards Białystok and then south towards Brest-Litewski, flanking Warsaw and encircling vast numbers of Polish troops. The road to victory for Guderian lay directly through Wizna. The Polish forces tasked with defending this vital sector were meager. The independent operational group Nadev, under General Czesław Mlotwialkowski, had stretched its limited resources thin across a vast front. The Wizna sector was defended by the remnants of the Polish 3rd Battalion, 135th Infantry Regiment, reinforced by artillery and engineer detachments. Their commander was Captain Władysław Raginis, a man known for his calm demeanor, tactical acumen, and fierce loyalty to his country. Raginis understood the gravity of his mission. He knew what lay ahead. The defenses at Wizna were a series of concrete bunkers, some reinforced with steel, others simple earth and timber structures stretching along a 6-kilometer front. These bunkers, though rudimentary by later war standards, were designed to be interlocking, providing mutual support and creating deadly fields of fire. They were armed with heavy and light machine guns, anti-tank rifles, and a few pieces of field artillery. Their primary weakness was their thin concrete, generally no more than 60 centimeters thick, making them vulnerable to direct hits from heavy artillery and tank fire.
There were also anti-tank obstacles, such as barbed wire and mines, but these were far from comprehensive. The Polish soldiers, a mix of seasoned veterans and fresh recruits, were acutely aware of their situation. The news from other fronts was grim. The Germans were advancing rapidly, cities were falling, and the Polish Air Force had been largely neutralized in the first hours of the invasion. Yet, within the confined, damp spaces of their bunkers, a sense of grim determination took root. They were Poland's last line in this sector, and they understood their duty. Captain Raginis, standing tall despite the weight of command, had issued a clear order to his men. "Soldiers, I will not abandon you. You know that for Poland I will never turn my back. I would rather die than surrender." This was not just a motivational speech, it was a solemn vow, a promise forged in the fires of impending battle. His words resonated deep within the hearts of his men, reinforcing their resolve. They knew that retreat was not an option, that surrender was unthinkable. Their mission was to hold, to fight to the last breath, to ensure that every German tank and soldier that passed through Wizna paid a terrible price. As the German vanguard approached on September 7, 1939, the air was thick with tension. The distant rumble of artillery, a prelude to the storm, sent tremors through the earth. Inside bunker number 1, Corporal Janek Kowalski, a farmer's son from a quiet village, gripped his rifle, his knuckles white. The acrid smell of stale earth and human sweat filled the confined space. His heart pounded in his chest, a frantic drum against his ribs. He pictured his mother's face, her worried eyes, as he left for mobilization. He was afraid, yes, a cold, creeping fear that threatened to paralyze him. But beneath it, a stubborn ember of defiance flickered. He would not disgrace his family, his village, his country. He would fight. The first skirmishes were light, German reconnaissance elements probing the Polish lines. Polish machine gunners, their fingers steady on the triggers, opened fire, cutting down advancing infantry. The crackle of rifle fire and the rhythmic thump of heavy machine guns broke the eerie calm. These initial engagements, though small, served as a chilling precursor to the immense force that was gathering just beyond the tree line. The Germans were surprised by the tenacity of the Polish forward outposts. They had expected a quick breakthrough, but the Poles, despite being vastly outnumbered, were not yielding an inch. Then, the full fury of the blitzkrieg descended. German artillery batteries, numerous and well-supplied, unleashed a devastating barrage. Shells shrieked through the air, exploding with deafening force, sending plumes of earth, concrete, and shrapnel skyward. The ground trembled violently, the bunkers vibrating as if in the grip of a monstrous earthquake. The concussions were bone-shaking, ringing ears and blurring vision. Dust and smoke filled the air, thick and choking, making it difficult to breathe. The world outside the bunkers became a maelstrom of fire and destruction. Following the artillery, waves of German infantry advanced, supported by the terrifying spectacle of Panzer tanks. These metallic behemoths, their engines roaring, tracks grinding, spewed machine gun fire and cannon shells. For the Polish defenders, peering through narrow firing slits, the sight was daunting. The sheer scale of the German advance was overwhelming, an endless tide of steel and men. Yet, they held their ground. The anti-tank rifles, though obsolete against the latest German armor, found their mark on the lighter Panzer I and Panzer II tanks, or aimed at tracks and vulnerable points. The Polish machine guns, both heavy and light, raped the advancing German infantry, creating deadly kill zones. The coordination between the bunkers, providing interlocking fields of fire, proved highly effective. Every German soldier who dared to cross the open ground faced a hail of lead. The air was thick with tracer fire, crisscrossing the battlefield like deadly red threads. Inside the bunkers, the soldiers fought with grim determination. The air grew thick with gunpowder smoke, sweat, and the metallic tang of blood. Orders were shouted over the din of battle, relayed from one man to the next. Ammunition was passed along, spent casings clattered to the floor. Exhaustion began to set in, but the adrenaline fueled their actions. Corporal Kowalski, his face smeared with grime, wiped sweat from his brow with a trembling hand, his eyes scanning the landscape for the next target. He saw his comrades fall, hit by shrapnel or direct fire, their lives extinguished in an instant. A cold knot formed in his stomach, but he pushed it down, focusing on the rhythmic cycle of load, aim, fire. Captain Raginis moved constantly between the command post and the frontline bunkers, his presence a source of immense morale. He directed fire, assessed damage, and encouraged his men. His voice, though strained, remained firm and calm, a rock amidst the storm. He knew that the fight was far from over, that this was just the beginning of Guderian's onslaught.
The objective was delay, and every minute they held was a victory. As the sun began to set on that first harrowing day, the German attacks began to wane. They had suffered heavy casualties and had failed to achieve any significant breakthrough. Guderian, known for his impatience and aggression, was reportedly furious. His advance was stalled by a handful of bunkers and a few hundred Polish soldiers. This delay was strategically significant. It disrupted his timetable, forcing him to commit more resources and time to what he had expected to be a swift conquest. The night brought a temporary reprieve, but no peace. The wounded were tended to, often by their comrades with limited medical supplies. Ammunition was redistributed. The silent darkness was punctuated by the groans of the injured and the distant rumble of German logistics preparing for the next day's assault. The Polish defenders, huddled in their bunkers, tried to rest, but sleep was elusive. The images of the day's horrors replayed in their minds, the screams, the explosions, the faces of their fallen friends. Yet the resolve hardened. They had held. They would hold again. Day 2, September 8th, dawned with a renewed German fury. Guderian, determined to break the Polish line, unleashed an even more intense barrage of artillery and aerial bombardment. Stuka dive bombers, their sirens wailing like banshees, plunged from the sky, unleashing bombs with terrifying precision. The concrete bunkers, already battered, took hit after hit. The ground shook incessantly, and the air was thick with the dust of pulverized earth and shattered concrete. The noise was unbearable, a cacophony of destruction that threatened to shatter the very sanity of the defenders. One particular bunker, bunker number 6, became a focal point of the German assault. Located at a critical juncture, it was subjected to relentless tank fire and infantry charges. The Polish soldiers inside, their faces caked with grime, their eyes red from lack of sleep, fought like cornered animals. Sergeant Adam Nowak, a veteran of the Polish-Soviet War, calmly directed his men, shouting orders over the roar of the battle. He personally manned a heavy machine gun, its barrel glowing red-hot, sweeping it across the advancing German infantry. His grim determination was infectious, inspiring his comrades to push beyond their limits. The Germans, realizing the futility of frontal infantry assaults without overwhelming support, brought up heavier tanks and dedicated assault guns. Their engineers, under constant fire, attempted to clear anti-tank obstacles and lay demolition charges against the bunkers. The fighting became close quarters, desperate struggles for mere meters of ground. Hand grenades were tossed, bayonets fixed, and men fought with the primal instinct for survival. Casualties mounted steadily on the Polish side. Every fallen comrade was a blow, a gap in their dwindling ranks. Yet their spirit remained unbroken. They knew they were buying time, delaying the inevitable, but this delay was crucial. Messages, often relayed by daring runners under heavy fire, confirmed that other Polish units were withdrawing, regrouping, trying to avoid encirclement. Every hour Wizna held meant more Polish lives potentially saved elsewhere. Captain Raginis, ever vigilant, made a desperate decision. With the German forces pressing hard, he ordered the destruction of a bridge over the Nerev, hoping to further impede Guderian's progress. Under intense fire, Polish engineers, demonstrating incredible bravery, succeeded in their task, blowing the bridge and forcing the Germans to seek alternative crossing points or spend precious time constructing pontoon bridges. The fighting became close quarters, desperate struggles for mere meters of ground. Hand grenades were tossed, bayonets fixed, and men fought with the primal instinct for survival. Casualties mounted steadily on the Polish side. Every fallen comrade was a blow, a gap in their dwindling ranks. Yet their spirit remained unbroken. They knew they were buying time, delaying the inevitable, but this delay was crucial. Messages, often relayed by daring runners under heavy fire, confirmed that other Polish units were withdrawing, regrouping, trying to avoid encirclement. Every hour Wizna held meant more Polish lives potentially saved elsewhere. Captain Raginis, ever vigilant, made a desperate decision. With the German forces pressing hard, he ordered the destruction of a bridge over the Narev, hoping to further impede Guderian's progress. Under intense fire, Polish engineers, demonstrating incredible bravery, succeeded in their task, blowing the bridge and forcing the Germans to seek alternative crossing points or spend precious time constructing pontoon bridges.
This act of defiance further enraged Guderian, but it bought the Poles more valuable hours. As the second day wore on, the situation for the Polish defenders became increasingly dire. Ammunition was critically low. Every round counted. Water was scarce, and the heat inside the bunkers, combined with the stress of constant combat, was draining. Many soldiers were wounded, but continued to fight, refusing to be evacuated as long as they could still hold a rifle or operate a machine gun. The bunkers themselves were crumbling, their concrete cracking, their defenses compromised. The German command, frustrated by the stubborn resistance, sent an ultimatum to Captain Raginis. General Guderian, through an emissary, demanded his surrender, threatening to execute all Polish prisoners of war if he refused. Raginis, unwavering in his resolve, rejected the ultimatum without hesitation. He had made a vow, and he would honor it. His defiant refusal was a clear message to his men and to the enemy. There would be no surrender at Wizna. The fight would continue to the very end. This moment defined the spirit of Wizna. It was a choice between life and honor, and Raginis, embodying the ancient Polish military tradition, chose honor. His decision strengthened the resolve of his men, reinforcing their belief that their sacrifice was not in vain, that they were fighting for something greater than themselves. For Poland, for freedom, for dignity. As night fell on September 8th, the German forces had managed to capture some of the forward Polish positions, but the core defensive line still held. The cost, however, had been immense. The remaining Polish soldiers were exhausted, their numbers drastically reduced, their ammunition almost expended. The smell of death hung heavy in the air. Yet, as the stars slowly emerged in the smoke-filled sky, a quiet sense of grim pride settled over the surviving defenders. They had held for 2 full days against a force 20 times their number, supported by hundreds of tanks. Day 3, September 9th, 1939. This would be the final act of the Polish Thermopylae. The German onslaught began at dawn, even more ferocious than before. Guderian, impatient and determined to break through, threw everything he had at the remaining Polish positions. The earth became a canvas for explosions, smoke, and fire. Tank after tank rumbled forward, their cannons spitting death. German infantry, emboldened by their numerical superiority, pushed relentlessly. The few remaining Polish artillery pieces were quickly overwhelmed. Their crews fought until the last shell was fired, then often took up rifles to join the infantry. The machine guns, their barrels fused, fell silent one by one as ammunition ran out or the gunners were killed. The bunkers, pounded ceaselessly by artillery and tank fire, began to disintegrate. Concrete crumbled, steel buckled, and the very ground seemed to tear apart. In the final hours, the fight devolved into desperate hand-to-hand combat. German soldiers swarmed the remaining bunkers, some having been breached by demolition charges. Polish soldiers, their faces streaked with blood and sweat, fought with their bayonets, with their fists, with anything they could find. They defended their positions with a ferocity born of desperation and an unshakable belief in their cause. Captain Raginis, by now directing the defense from the last remaining intact bunker, watched as his men fell around him. He witnessed acts of unimaginable bravery, soldiers throwing themselves at advancing tanks with bundles of grenades, machine gunners firing until their last breath, refusing to yield their posts. The odds were no longer impossible, they were catastrophic. With almost all his positions overrun, all his men either killed, wounded, or captured, and the German forces swarming the last few strongholds, Captain Raginis knew the end was near. He received a final radio message from General Władysław ordering him to cease hostilities and withdraw. But withdrawal was no longer possible. The Germans had completely encircled his remaining forces. Raginis, wounded and exhausted, but his spirit unbroken, gathered his remaining soldiers. There were only a handful left, perhaps 20 or 30 men, huddled in the command bunker, surrounded by the enemy. With heavy heart, he gave his final order. "Soldiers, I order you to surrender. I will not leave my post alive."
His voice, though weary, carried the weight of his earlier vow.
He would not abandon his men, but he would not surrender himself. As his men laid down their arms, accepting the inevitable, Raginis stood alone. He had fulfilled his promise. He had fought to the last. Some accounts suggest he then triggered a hand grenade against his chest, taking his own life rather than fall into German hands. Other accounts describe him being killed by German fire in the final moments. Regardless of the exact circumstances, Captain Władysław Raginis died at his post, a martyr for his country, a true hero of the Polish Thermopylae. The Battle of Wizna was over. The 720 Polish defenders had been annihilated, but their sacrifice was not in vain. For 3 grueling days, from September 7th to September 9th, 1939, they had held back General Guderian's 19th Panzer Corps. This delay, though seemingly minor in the grand scheme of the invasion, was strategically vital. It bought precious time for other Polish units to reorganize, retreat, and avoid encirclement. It disrupted Guderian's rapid advance, causing him to lose valuable momentum and forcing him to commit significant resources to overcoming a small, outmanned, and outgunned force. General Guderian, a professional soldier who respected bravery, was reportedly moved by the tenacity of the Polish defenders. After the battle, he personally inspected the ruined bunkers and the battlefield, a silent tribute to the courage he had encountered. The scale of the Polish sacrifice left an impression even on the hardened German commanders. They had witnessed firsthand the indomitable spirit of the Polish soldier. The legacy of Wizna, however, extends far beyond its immediate strategic impact. It became, and remains, a powerful symbol for Poland. In the darkest hours of the war, when the nation was being crushed between 2 totalitarian regimes, the story of Wizna served as a beacon of hope and defiance. It reminded Poles, and indeed the world, that even against overwhelming odds, the human spirit, fueled by patriotism and courage, could endure, could resist, could inspire. Every bunker, every stand, every last shot fired at Wizna is brought vividly to life through this historical account. We see the crumbling concrete, the scarred earth, the desperate faces of the soldiers through the lens of history. We hear the roar of the tanks, the shriek of the shells, the desperate cries of men fighting for their lives and for their nation. The Battle of Wizna is a stark reminder of the brutality of war, but also of the incredible capacity for heroism that emerges in such crucible moments. The courage of Captain Raginis and his men was not born of recklessness, but of a deep sense of duty and love for their homeland. They knew their chances were slim to none, yet they faced the enemy with unwavering resolve. Their sacrifice was a testament to the idea that honor and duty can transcend even the most overwhelming material disadvantages. It was a demonstration that valor could indeed outweigh numbers, that a small band of dedicated men could momentarily halt the juggernaut of a modern army. The Polish Thermopylae analogy is fitting. Just as the 300 Spartans at Thermopylae held the Persian horde, allowing the Greek city-states to prepare their defenses, the 720 Polish soldiers at Wizna held the German Panzer Corps, allowing other Polish units to regroup. Both battles, though ultimately defeats, became enduring symbols of courage against impossible odds, inspiring generations with their tales of self-sacrifice and unwavering resolve. The animated history documentary, utilizing powerful tools like Unreal Engine, recreates the Battle of Wizna, immersing us in the raw emotion and brutal reality of that struggle. It allows us to walk alongside Corporal Kowalski as he loads his rifle, to feel the ground shake beneath our feet, to witness the fierce determination in Sergeant Nowak's eyes. It enables us to understand the immense pressure on Captain Raginis, his solemn vow, and his ultimate sacrifice. This immersive experience is crucial, transforming abstract historical facts into a visceral human story. Through detailed narration and emotional storytelling, this film pays tribute to the soldiers who gave everything at the Battle of Wizna. It is a story not just of military strategy, but of human resilience.
It is a story of ordinary men called upon to perform extraordinary acts and answering that call with unparalleled bravery. We witness the Polish spirit of resistance and honor that shines brightly even amidst the ashes of defeat. The Battle of Wizna stands as one of the most unforgettable moments of the Second World War. It is a reminder that history is not just about grand armies and decisive campaigns, but also about the individual acts of heroism, the small, desperate stands that define the true character of a people. It reminds us of the profound cost of freedom and the unyielding spirit required to defend it. The memory of Wizna, of Captain Raginis and his 720 brave soldiers continues to resonate. It is a story told and retold, passed down through generations, ensuring that their sacrifice is never forgotten. It serves as an enduring inspiration, a testament to the enduring power of courage in the face of absolute despair. They fought for Poland, for freedom, for honor, and in doing so, they etched their names into eternity. Their legacy is not one of defeat, but of an unbreakable spirit that refused to bow, a spirit that stood tall against the storm and ultimately prevailed in the hearts of a nation. The fields of Wizna, once torn by shellfire and stained by blood, are now quiet. But the echoes of that battle, the valor of those who fought and died there, continues to reverberate. It is a powerful narrative of human courage, a stark reminder of the sacrifices made in the pursuit of liberty, and an enduring symbol of the indomitable spirit of the Polish nation. This is the untold story, now told, of the Battle of Wizna, the Polish Thermopylae, a moment where the fire of human will shone brightest against the darkest of nights.
Grenade out! Go, go, go! Keep moving!
Schnell! Hier entlang! Such dort drüben!
The convoy leaves at 0400. We intercept here.
That's cutting it too close, Captain.
It's the only option we have left.
Vorwärts, Männer! Schnell! Deckung dort drüben!
Get down! Move up!
Cover fire! We need suppressive fire right now!
Wir müssen diesen Sektor sichern. Bewegen Sie die 3. Panzerdivision hierher.
Thank you, mate. Get some rest.
Keep firing! Don't let up! Switching belts!
Angriff! Alle Einheiten vor!
Incoming artillery! Take cover! We need support on the left flank. Medic!